That's right. It's me. 'Tis I, Rich Speight. I'm here. A lot of people said it wouldn't happen, but here it is. I feel like I've been on stage at this convention more than when I host them in the United States. The schedule today, I'm like, there's a panel, there's me, okay, break, me, and wrap it up with me. Okay, cool. How many of you attended the musical function last night? Anybody? How many of you, out of those of you who cheered, enjoyed the musical function? It's a good effort, only a few of you didn't. It was really, really impressive. Let's talk about last night. Who wasn't here last night? Ouch. Okay, fine. So, I'm kidding. I get it. But things happened last night that were magical, memorable, meaningful. I think the biggest takeaway for me from last night, which I just need everybody to absorb how spectacular this was Billy Moran leaping in to an Italian mandolin solo. I said to Billy, were you guys here? You guys remember? I said to Billy, like, as a joke, and now an Italian in the middle of a solo, and he, without breaking stride, without losing beat, immediately starts playing in key some mandolin-esque, sound. It was baffling. To this day, I'm not sure Jason Manns doesn't think we planned it. You know what I mean? He was so mystified. I was mystified. Because I knew Billy would do something. He's a creative guy, we've been working together a long time. I knew I would say that and he would either give me a dry look or, or whatever, or just play a solo and say it was Italian. But that was spectacular. And I think almost everybody enjoyed it. There was one person, and she might be in this room, she was there at the bar last night, and she came in the line, and she said, it seemed more Greek. I'm like, okay. That might be a little splitting hairs, as we say in the States. But the man did a really good job just making something up out of the blue on the fly. And then Paul and Billy whistling. And I wasn't kidding, that's risky. Not every, you've got to be, the guitar's not going to, suddenly not be guitar, but you could not be able to whistle. Something happens. Like, what if Billy started tickling Paul? You can't whistle when you're laughing, being tickled, especially by Billy. He's a known tickler. At least tell him I said so. Anyway, it was a great night. It was super fun. And then there's another musical event happening. You may not know about it. It's on Lunady. It's on tomorrow. It's Monday night. It's tomorrow night. You guys going to that? How many of you are not going to that? I just can't. I can't please you people, can I? There's nothing I can do. I'm kidding. That's all right. You'll hear all about it. I'm sure it'll be magical and meaningful. And you'll hear all about it. That's the gift we get from having the internet, where everything is preserved and shared, and no secret is safe, and no image doesn't go unposted. So yeah, we'll do something there. Now listen, the title of this event that we're a part of right now is a Q&A. Not just A. So I'm going to take a cue, because there's one. And let's see, she's in the shadows. Is that a cue? Oh, there's two cues. All right. We just doubled our number. Anyway.
She was actually fast.
Oh, well then I think, what a courteous crowd. All right, you are first. What is your cue?
Yesterday I asked Jensen in what classic movie did him picture himself, because I rewatched Dirty Dancing and I so pictured him as Johnny Castle. I don't know why. And with you...
I'll tell you why, because you picture Jensen in everything. I don't know why I saw him as a good-looking guy teaching a woman to dance, sweeping her off her feet and cradling her lovingly and showing her the way to womanhood. I don't know why I pictured Jensen. That seems so...
Maybe it's my subconscious.
I think it's very much your forward conscience, not your drop sub right out of that. I think it's just your conscience.
Calm down. I'll get to you.
Okay.
I pictured you, and I always pictured you in like court movies.
Court movies?
Yeah, like a lawyer.
Like a lawyer, sure.
Yeah, and I was wondering, in what movie do you picture yourself, like a classic remake of a movie?
Well, I never thought about that. Let's think about it. Interestingly, my father was a lawyer.
Oh, so. Me too. Wow.
Your father was also an attorney. Yeah, that's cool.
No, I am.
Oh, you're a lawyer. Okay. That's also very cool. Classic remake. I mean, movies that I would have wanted to be in that are old movies, remakes. I don't know if I picture... Again, I have this sort of same issue that I don't picture myself in somebody else's role, because that role already exists. Kind of like we talked about yesterday. But for the fun of it, and since you said lawyer, one of my favorite movies of all time is To Kill a Mockingbird. Now, I am no Gregory Peck, but nonetheless, that would be a phenomenal movie to have been a part of. Especially the old classic one, which is just, old Hollywood and so cool. Also, 12 Angry Men is it's a classic. So that's also something that I would be, I think in this day and age would be 12 Angry People, but which makes sense. Back then juries were only guys. But that would be a film or a play that would be great to be in. Yeah, you know what, it's a play and a movie. And either one would be something I would want to do, is Glengarry Glen Ross, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. If you guys don't know Glengarry Glen Ross, you should watch it. It's a play, it's a David Mamet play, that they made into a movie years ago. I'm trying to think, like 94, 95, and it's got Alec Baldwin, Ed Harris, Al Pacino, Jonathan Pryce, Jack Lemmon, Kevin Spacey, and Alan Arkin. It's an unbelievable cast, and it's the play, but the play, there's one thing in the movie that isn't in the play, and if any of you have seen that, a lot of people see this meme online a lot. It's Alec Baldwin. This opening monologue of the movie isn't in the play. It was written for the movie to sort of set up the movie, and that's where they, the ABC, always be closing, and there's all these memes that are online from that opening monologue because it's a classic. Worth watching if you've never seen it. I'm trying to think of what else. What other movies? Was there anything that popped into your mind aside? Like, was there any specific movie that you thought of?
I like that one with Al Pacino and Justice for All. I don't know if you've seen it.
Ooh, man, I know the movie. I don't think I've seen it. I don't think I've seen that.
Great. I mean, I think it's one of his best movies. Yeah.
That's awesome. There's also Paul Newman in The Verdict.
Oh my God.
That's a great one. I've always, because my dad was an attorney, I've read courtroom dramas a lot in my life and enjoy them and kind of find the law to be a fascinating profession. So playing a lawyer would be super fun for me. It'd be challenging and interesting, but also something that's a little bit resonates with my upbringing.
Yeah.
I remember telling my father that I wanted to be an actor, and I was very nervous because I'm not from a family of actors. I'm from a family of non-artists, and I wasn't sure how he would take the news that I wanted to go to college and major in theater. And then eventually, he came around that he supported it. He gave me a sweatshirt from a university I wanted to go to, which was in Los Angeles, which is his way, and my mom's way of saying, yes, we wish you the best, you're gonna go to Los Angeles. And at some point, I don't remember exactly how the conversation happened, but I asked him, I'm like, I'm surprised you came around. And this may have been years later, but it was still when I was young. Like, what changed your mind? And my dad said, well, first, I didn't love the idea, but then I started thinking, actor, DJ, preacher, lawyer, it's all the same job. Just what are you selling? You're selling God, you're selling your client, you're selling the next song, or you're selling yourself. So,
Yeah.
go sell, and good luck. So, in many ways, I think there's a similarity to, and my dad was a courtroom attorney, like he was a trial lawyer, so in many ways it's tapping into a very similar skill set.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Interesting question. I'm sure other movies will come to my head as I think about them, but I do love courtroom dramas, so thanks for seeing me in that light.
Yeah.
I take it as a
Hope to
compliment.
see you one day you want to.
So do I. Thank you very much. Okay, you're right there.
Hey.
Hey.
I wanted to ask you, we see you coming into Supernatural as the trickster, but I was wondering if back then you already knew you would have been the Archangel Gabriel at some point, or whether they told you afterwards.
Oh no, you have no idea. We were just hired for one episode. You would only know story if you were maybe part of the cast permanently, but we were only hired, when I say we, I mean I know that Rob was hired for one episode, probably Misha too. I think the majority of guest stars who went on to become major players, Mark Shepard, they just get hired for one episode. And you don't know that you're gonna come back at all. So no, I had no idea that I would ever do the show again, let alone that they would develop the character into something else. And quite frankly, my theory has always been that they didn't know either.
Okay.
And I believe now that having done the podcast and interviewed enough people in the show, including Eric Kripke,
Yeah.
they don't know. They know that they've got Jared Jensen's story to figure out, and then they got the dad's story to figure out, and then when they add Misha, they got to figure out that character. But these individual characters that come in, they don't know exactly how that's going to play out. And now maybe, at some point they knew they were going to start revealing archangels, and they decided, oh, let's tie these two things together. That'll be cool. They'll find that, they find that story in the writer's room. So it may be that they marry two stories together once they realize that this one character works. You know what I mean? That the trickster works as a character. But they do not have that big a plan in terms of the individual characters. They have giant story arcs, but not that. And that made it kind of, as an actor, you obviously want to work and you want to know that you have a job coming up, but it's also kind of, it has made the story interesting that none of us knew if or when we would ever return.
Yeah.
Like, if you'd asked me however many years ago, 20 years ago, when my agent called and said, they want you to play a janitor on a show that you've never heard of, and I said, okay. Did I think I'd be 20 years later talking about it on a stage in Rome? No, I didn't. Like, it's a really weird and interesting and unexpected journey that the show has taken us on, and that was never not the case. It was unexpected to get the job, it was unexpected that they brought the character back, it's unexpected that the character kept returning,
What traits do you think you added to Gabriel compared to the initial trickster?
Well, it's hard to say, because I think the writers write that. When Gabriel's getting serious or Gabriel's getting annoyed, that's written. That's how they are charting the character. So my job is to bring a truth to that character, that turn. But I'm not making that up. That's something that's, I embody it, but I'm following the instructions that the script is giving me. I just do my best to make it grounded and real and sincere in the moments, and goofy when it's supposed to be goofy, serious or angry or frustrated, and add all that color that makes a character three-dimensional and not just words on a page. But in terms of the actual traits, I'm discovering that when I read the script. I'm like, I'm an archangel. Oh, okay, cool. You're figuring that out as the writers are. And that process of discovery is cool. You know, it's what makes the job interesting, because you actually never know what is going to be thrown your way. It's not, a movie script, you know the whole story when you get the movie, when you get the script. But a TV show is an ever-evolving, you hope it's on long enough to evolve a lot. Supernatural certainly was. It's an ever-evolving process, and then when it evolves far enough, you get to make some pretty significant character changes, which my character was able to do. I mean, it was on so long that we were able to explore how Trickster became Gabriel became in hiding, and all these things that are really interesting that took 13 years to unravel. Most shows don't go long enough for that to be a possibility, so it's really cool that it worked out that way.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your question. Appreciate it. And into the light she steps. Yeah, nice.
It's okay, this is a little low.
Say it again?
It was a little low down, I was doing a bit of crouching there.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Sarah, I'm from Belfast, Northern Ireland.
Hello.
I just want to say thank you so much for last night.
Oh, you're welcome.
It was amazing. I love country music. My dad raised me on Hank Williams and the Allman Brothers, and yeah, it was fantastic. Belfast is actually twinned with Nashville. Is there any chance that we can get you over? Because he would love the gig. Unfortunately, he's not well and can't travel, but if I could bring him to you.
Nothing would please me more than to play outside of the United States. It's a lot of logistics to figure it out, but we would at some point like to play outside the US for sure.
Yeah, no, it would be amazing. And that was it. I just want to say thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you coming, and you know, there's so many talented musicians in this group, and it's fun to sort of be the country one. And I like that lane, and it's been fun making Billy like country music. I'm not sure he innately liked it at the start, but man, he has learned to embrace it, and we've had a good time doing the stuff.
But it's okay, you said he was a robot, so surely...
He's a robot.
It's fine.
He's got to reprogram him. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Appreciate it very much. Hey! Well, hello. It's in demand, everybody.
Yes, I was told to deliver to you some apple juice.
Grazie. That's that'll
Espresso.
melt your toupee wax. We were just talking about how fun last night was. Your timing is perfect.
It was really fun.
It was really great. I think I've spent the majority of this panel rehashing my favorite moments.
I feel like, maybe you did this, but maybe you didn't. Did you say, everybody give Richard Speight Jr. a round of applause yet?
No, I didn't say that.
Say that yet? Everyone give Richard Speight Jr. a round of applause!
I should bring you out on stage more often.
That's kind of what I was figuring.
I'm going to take one more question, and then I'm going to get out of your hair.
No, I'm just here with you.
Great.
For a few minutes.
Then then I'll get out of your hair.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just here to brag on you.
It was a lot of fun, and I said, your name came up, I said, I'm not sure Jason is convinced that the Billy Italian guitar wasn't slightly planned. I don't know where you landed.
I'm still slightly unconvinced. It was too perfect.
Yeah.
He was too unflustered.
Unflustered is what I'm saying. That's why I think he's a robot.
It was pretty impressive.
Yeah, man.
I don't know if anybody asked you this question yet. What was it like being on the other side? So, once upon a time, I used to smoke cigarettes. Long time ago. Terrible habit, don't I? But, after the meal, if you're out to meal with a bunch of people, all the smokers leave, they go outside to smoke a cigarette. I was always in the smoker group.
Right.
And then I quit smoking.
Right.
And I remember distinctly the first time all the smokers went out to smoke, and I was sitting at the table with all the non-smokers, and I was like, I've never been here with these people before. Is that what you felt like last night?
It was a trip. It was really cool. Because, for those who don't know, I don't do the Saturday night show. It's not, I think I've watched one. Somebody was reminding me that I was on the sidelines for one of these years ago, which is very true, as long as we've been coming here. But I've never played in one. So it was really cool to be part of the group that was part of the entertainment for the night. It was really, really fun.
It was great having you.
Well, we'll have to do it again.
I agree.
All right, now, you right there, what is your question?
Well, I was going to say something first, and I'm not sure I should now. Jason's come out.
Well, is it about his birthday party? Yeah.
just because I was going to say, yes, last night was brilliant and you're all super, super talented, but Rich, you're my favourite. I love what you do with lyrics and I really love the songs that you write, so I just wanted to say you're my favourite. Sorry, Jason.
No, listen, I'm glad I was here for it. I'm a product of Jason's encouragement, so in many ways, without Jason, I wouldn't be here to receive your compliments. So thank you, Jason, and thank you. So appreciate it.
That wasn't my question.
No, I appreciate it.
My question is about the podcast. Obviously, one of the big shticks is that you and Rob haven't seen most of the episodes.
Correct.
But obviously, you have been in a few and you have directed a few.
Mm-hmm.
So, of the ones that you are familiar with, is there anyone, maybe from the crew rather from the cast, that you're like, I really want to get them on the podcast for that episode because I know what they've got to say about that episode from my experience on it, that you're like, I want to share that with people?
That's interesting. That's a tough answer because, I watched a lot of the shows when I got hired to direct. I watched chunks of shows to get familiar with director styles, honestly. I watched Bob Singer episodes and Phil episodes, and I watched them in a group like that, as opposed to being in line with the order of the show. I watched them out of order. I love having directors on because I love to hear the why of what they do. But your question, just to talk about the phrasing of the question, you're saying because I know what they did. I don't know what they did. I still just watched, I was just a viewer watching what they did. And then when I got into directing, then I was sort of privy to the experience, but those would be on my own episodes. So there's still a lot of mystery to me in how things were achieved. One episode that I would love to have two people on for, and I forget the name of this episode, but you guys will tell me because you'll know them all, and I feel like it's a Led Zeppelin song, but I don't know, is I want to have Phil Segrisha and Tim Amundsen on to talk about that fight in the barn with Jensen and Kane, because that's such a good episode, and it's so well done, and and the fight sequence was one of the coolest fight sequences I had ever seen in the show. Keeping in mind I haven't seen all the episodes, but I had done a lot at that point, and the idea that there was a story to the fight. It wasn't just a fight to kill a demon and get out of the room. They were arguing while fighting, and there was so much going on. So that's an example of one of them. And I'm trying to think of who else I'd like to have on in terms of that. It'll be interesting to have when we get to when the fights change. Lou Bolo was our fight coordinator for years and years and years, and was great. He passed away. We don't have Lou anymore, but his impact is felt on that show massively. When he was replaced by a man named Rob Hader. And Rob Hader had a whole different style of prepping for fights. And it'll be interesting to have Rob on to talk about how do you pass the torch without honoring the style. Because that's, he was stepping into somebody else's shoes. He couldn't just make it not a supernatural show, but he had a completely different team and style of doing things. So I think that'll be an interesting conversation to get into. There's a bunch like that, man. I'm a nerd for that behind-the-scenes stuff.
Yeah, me too. I think in one of the comments on one of the episodes I suggested Rob Hader, so...
Yeah, so, of like mind. There's just a lot that goes into making the sauce, and sometimes I'm not even aware of who was involved in making the sauce of that episode until I'm watching it, either for the first time or again. You know what I mean? And I'm watching it now for the podcast through different eyes. And I appreciate you watching it, or listening to it, and keep doing it.
Will do.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, having seen you transition from actor to director,
Right.
You directed your short film, and then did the Warner Brothers thing. When you were watching Supernatural to prep for your Supernatural episodes, I'm sure you already, I won't make you name any names, but you had your favorite directors from an actor perspective, the ones that you enjoyed working with.
Right.
Were they the same ones that you looked to for stylized stuff, or was it a different perspective? Like, as an actor, you're like, I love working with that guy because I'm gonna get out early. And then as a director, you were like, everybody gets out early when he works, but I actually like this guy that makes us stay late because...
You know what it is? Okay, that's an interesting question. and I say this because I was never a regular on that show. It was never a normal job for me. Anytime I got to work on Supernatural as an actor, it was, oh, cool, I get to go back and work. So, and I only say that to say, I never wanted to get out early. You know what I mean? Like, if I had 3 days, I wanted 16 hours.
Mr. Speight, you can go now. No, I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Can I stay? If I want to stay, can I stay?
Yeah, because you're serving dinner later, right? So I could hang around. But I know what you mean. I know that like there is execution over style, sort of. You know, they were kind of the same. I shadowed 3 different directors when I was prepping for my episode. I shadowed Tom Wright, who directed me in season 9, but I didn't know very well, and I shadowed him and just thought he was a fascinating guy. Tom Wright directed Baby. That's a beloved episode of Supernatural that Tom Wright directed. And a little piece of trivia: when you enter the Directors Guild, you are sponsored by other directors. Meaning, like when you are doing a job that gets you into the Directors Guild, part of getting into the guild is filling out recommendation forms or voucher forms. I can't think of the right endorsement forms, and you get other directors who are current members of the DJ to sign for you. So I have 3 guys who signed for me, or 3 directors who signed for me. When Tom Wright joined the DJ, one of his endorsements was Alfred Hitchcock. So he's new to it. Yeah, he was Alfred Hitchcock's last storyboard artist. And the only photo that was in the director's office from season 9 forward, the only photo was a picture of Alfred Hitchcock with Tom Wright standing behind him and some other people in the photo. But we're like, well, that's the coolest photo we're ever going to have in here, so that's it. Shout out Tom Wright because he was just so well respected and so seasoned. I didn't know him well. Bob Singer I knew well, and I knew that he knew this show at the back of his hand. I shadowed him. And Phil Segresha. Now, Bob I worked with as an actor, and Tom I worked with as an actor. Phil Segresha I had never worked with as an actor.
Really?
I've worked with him since. I started directing, but hadn't at that point. But I just thought some of his episodes were just elevated episodes. So I shadowed him, and I also watched a lot of episodes by John Showalter, because John Showalter did stuff that I thought was fascinating. Stuff that was kind of rule-breaking in the sort of, here's what you must do kind of rule book of TV. I won't bore you with the details. That's for a longer conversation another time. But I also hadn't worked with him until later on when I started directing. Then I worked with John. And both Phil and John proved to be as good a directors to actors as they were to the product. You know what I mean? I think I'm attracted to that anyway as an actor because I'm just so nerdy. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That I love the minutia, and if people care about the minutia, then they're my guy.